you're a scrapper yourself. And I've heard this video, or Dana's talked about this.
Oh, I know where you're going. Okay.
He talked about a video, and it pops up for me randomly, where he got in an elevator with you and somebody else. And in the elevator, you and the other guy, and I don't know if we can say his name, but Dana says his name. I'm
Frank Trigg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
He was
guys
a fighter, right?
Frank Trigg was a top 10 welterweight.
Mm-hmm.
and you guys got in the elevator, and you and him started fucking throwing punches and got in a full-on fight in the elevator, which is a true story. I imagine if Dana told it.
God bless Dana. It was you know, if I get in a scrap, I don't talk about it. You know, I might tell my friends or my family. But here's what happened. We were doing. I think I had to stay in town for 2 UFCs, and it was a fight night. And we went back to the room, and Mike Goldberg, the commentator, fantastic commentator that was doing UFC back then. Frank and I, we're all friends, right? So we were in Mike's room, we had a drink, and then we were going to go out. So it was like the 10th floor of the Hard Rock Hotel. And we go to the elevator. Elevator opens up. There's Dana White and his security guy and Tom. And we walk in, and I'm the last one walking in. The doors are still open. And Frank had been released, or, his contract getting renewed from the UFC recently before that. So immediately he's asking to go back in the octagon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, like Frank said, asking for a job.
Yeah.
So as he's talking, immediately it was on this with Dana. And then as I'm walking in, I'm a watch freak, and Dana had on this really cool watch band, right? So picture this. I'm walking in the elevator. Dana and Tom are here. Frank is over here, and Mike. And so I walk in, and now I go over to Dana, right? Nice watch. And as I lean over, I said, Dana, that's a cool wristband. I get a ridge hand to the back of my throat, right to the front of my throat from behind, which is basically known as a cheap shot. And it was firm. And I turn around. I mean, I was coughing. I mean, he caught me. And I go, Frank, you hit me. Why the F did you hit me? And then he said, what are you going to do about it? Right. And I don't know what clicked in me, but then just, pop. And the doors closed, and we went at it, for 10 floors. What is that, like 30, 40 seconds or whatever the case might be. And then
What was
the doors
Dana doing in there at the time?
Well, Dana was peeled against the wall. I wasn't really looking at them. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
I'm looking at what's going on in front of me. And, punches get thrown harder, that kind of thing. And then the doors started open. And in the Hard Rock Hotel, if you remember back then, there's all these glass encasements. So I knew that we would probably roll out of the elevator and, God forbid, go through the glass in one of the encasements or whatever. And I threw my hands up in the air and go, we're done. Right. And then started to laugh, and I had blood up and down my shirt, and I had got right here, my thumb was peeled back to the bone. I guess I hit a ring or a belt buckle. Shite happens when you're in a little scuffle. And that was it, and I just laughed it off and went back and I went to the triage. I went to the triage, and they said, no, you got to go get stitches. So I had to go to the emergency room. I went to the emergency room, and I could hear my voice announcing fights, in the next room. They were watching a repeat of the show I just did earlier. And the doctor came in, he goes, what are you doing here? And so $500 tetanus shot and 6 or 7 stitches later. And then I went out, had a nice time, and felt like I was 18 years all over again.
You don't know why he did it still?
Well, if you watch the animated show that Dana did when Frank was interviewed, he said, hey, I interrupted him. Basically, he was asking for a job. But Frank and I are friends. I mean, we saw each other later on, and, friendly scrap. I didn't tell anybody. A fighter named...
That's the only reason I said that, by the way. It's because Dana put it out there.
Yeah, Dana put it out. Mikey Burnett, a fighter who was in the UFC, came up to me the next day, and next day it was, or day after, and he said, hey, Buff, I heard you took it to Trigg. And I go, Mikey, I haven't told anybody. Where'd you hear that? He goes, Dana's told everybody. So, thanks, Dana. And then Dana called me up, and he said they were doing this special animated